In this episode of Crystal Uncorked, we're going to talk about what it feels like to feel free, like truly free. And I have a story to share that I was so surprised by the emotions that came up for me when I really realized what freedom looked like for me personally. And I will also be talking about some tips and what's working for me to create balance in my life. So let's dive in. Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. Welcome, friend, back to the show. If you're coming back, if you're new here, cheers. I am Crystal, and tonight I am drinking an amazing cab from Arndt Cellars. This wine is so beautiful. It's bold. I feel like I always use the word bold. It's floral almost to me and almost a little vanilla. I'm not really like a sweet wine person, but holy guacamole, I am loving this wine. And I have to tell you, I've been jamming to 90s music for the past 2 hours because tomorrow night we're doing a 90s themed private karaoke party at my friends Vi and Christina. You heard from Christina on the show. She's my amazing Colorado photographer and dear friend. And her husband, Vi, is going to be on the show next episode. You're going to want to tune in to both of those. But cheers to this amazing cab and to 90s music. You want to hear what I'm going to be singing? I have like a tab on my phone that's just titled karaoke songs because I hate when you're sitting there and you need to put in a song. Like my go-to is always Florence and the Machine, Dog Days. Always my go-to. But if I'm like with friends, they've heard that song before, I always want something new, right? Or if you're somewhere and there's not a lot of people, so you get to sing a lot, which is awesome. Like more singing, the better. So I have a note so I don't like forget what I want to sing. So far on the 90s list is Crush. It's just a little crush, you know, that one. See you going near, cause it doesn't take it just to understand what's going on, baby. That, I've got some TLC, some Robin, some Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. I mean, I am very excited. And that's just like, I'm probably some Third Eye Blind. It's going to be a fun karaoke night. Anyways, let's dive in to our topic of freedom. So as I mentioned during the past couple of episodes about vulnerability, which if you haven't tuned into those, I really recommend it. I've just been hearing some really great feedback from people listening to those shows and relating and connecting, which makes me so happy. Also, part 1 of vulnerability, there was a proposal. So a surprise proposal. My boyfriend interrupted the show and proposed. So if you haven't seen that, go watch episode 57. And then 58 is a part 2 of vulnerability. But I mentioned in those that I am in therapy. And I just feel like I'm transforming and have learned so much about myself over these several months. And like I'm growing every single week and like leaps and bounds. It's really amazing. And one of my therapy sessions, well, let me take a step back. I am somebody who journals. I have a very consistent morning schedule. I get up at 6 a.m. I make my coffee. I take all my vitamins. I sit on the couch. I put on a great Spotify playlist. It varies every day depending on the mood. And I just journal. And there's no method to that. It's just whatever comes to me. Sometimes I'm mapping out like work stuff and marketing ideas. Sometimes I'm talking about my feelings. Sometimes I'm manifesting and thinking about the future life that I want. But so often this year, I would be writing the word free. I want to feel free. And my therapist recommended that I do some painting or drawing. And so I bought these like cool gel pens and did some drawing. I'm like the worst drawer, by the way. Like I'm awful. I look like a child drew stuff. Dustin totally makes fun of me for it, with love. But he's right. Like, I suck. It's pretty funny, but I don't care. I still do it. And maybe I'll post some of my drawings on Instagram. But I kept finding myself like creating these things. It's mostly shapes, but I would write the word free, free, free. And it just kept coming up for me, like this desire to feel free. So I mentioned this in a therapy session, and my therapist asked me, what does freedom feel like? And I was just like, whew, okay. And, close my eyes. And immediately I was taken to riding my bike when I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I rode my bike like every day if the weather was nice. I loved it. And this is back in the day. So I'm 37 years old. So this is back when we did not have cell phones. And holy fuck, I got so emotional about the thought of riding a bike and not having a cell phone, not feeling so plugged in, not feeling like, oh, I need to post this, not feeling like, what are my friends doing? What kind of notifications do I have on social media? Stopping at the park, and right before you jump on the swings, you're like taking a picture, a selfie of yourself on the swings, like your brain just looking at everything as social media content and being so fucking connected. I was free. I rode my bike, sometimes by myself. Sometimes I pick up my friends along the way. I would always go no hands. I thought it was so cool, standing up straight, just pedaling. And fuck, it was such an amazing feeling. And that is so freedom to me. I was so in the moment. I was outside, and, it was just playful. You're also a child, so you don't have the weight of the world on your shoulders in regards to like, how am I going to pay my bills? And what's up with my employees? And is my company profitable or not? And like, how are we going to be growing profits? And just all the things, that from an entrepreneurial standpoint. And then also just like, as you get older, I'm definitely seeing my parents get older, and they've got new things that they're dealing with, and watching my grandma get older. And we all get older, guys. Newsflash, we all get older. And it's kind of hard to watch. And, it's kind of hard to see people that are close to you get older. And so I have no idea where I was going with that, and that's okay because we're on course. So this is a beautiful time to take a sip of wine. The feeling of being free, being a kid, not having the pressures of what all these adults have, what you have as an adult, and not being fucking connected so I'm in this moment with my therapist, an immediate flood from my belly up, whoosh, just like through the heart, throughout, and then just tears. Because I felt like it was a death. I was grieving that moment in time because it felt like I can never have that back. And I know that I can get on a bike and go out there and ride it around and not bring my phone, but it's different now because one, yes, I'm an adult, but two, the way that my brain is trained, because I have had a social media business for over 10 years, everything's content. I look at everything and I'm like, that would be a great shot. That would be good. This would be so inspiring. You could do that. Look at this. And I'm not taking all those pictures and posting all that stuff. It's just how my brain works. And I think that that's how a lot of people's brain works today. We think about, would this be a shareable moment? Do I want to share this? I think that we think this unconsciously. We're just like in the moment, like I want to tell people I'm happy. I'm outside. I saw something beautiful. We want to share it. And so that moment of riding the bike outside, completely free, completely detached, 100% present, just doesn't feel like I can ever have that again. And I was very sad. There was a lot of emotions around that. And honestly, like it took me several days after that session where I just felt so heartbroken and I really felt like I was grieving a past life. And just like a random side note, I started really thinking about our elders and my grandma because their life has changed so much. Like if you think about way back when there wasn't like colored TV and you couldn't record shows and really you just got information from the radio and how close families were. And, it's just like we have progressed so much as, as a humanity has just progressed so much. And there's beautiful things that have come out of that, beautiful things. But also like life will never be the same. And so you really have to grieve it and accept it and move on. And so, I dealt with that at Crystal Media of just helping people with their social media and feeling really behind and feeling left out and feeling like, I don't even want to do this. Like, gosh, can it just go back to the day where it was like easier? I didn't have to do this all the time. I really feel like I got a new sense of feelings, for way like lack of a better word, just a new sense of appreciation, I guess, for people who feel that pain of it not being the same and feeling left behind and technology moves too fast. Like I really understand that more than I ever have. And so then my therapist recommended inviting in the fun, because that was so fun, right? It was present. I was in the moment. I was having fun. And so what are the things I did my next day journaling, like what are the things that do make me feel free and do create that feeling of fun? And so I really recommend that you do this, to create a list of what those things are, because what I realized for myself is when I'm not doing these things, which for me, my list is I've like music, good music. I always have to have music on. I kind of think like I have a little bit of I don't know what that is. It's just like I always have to have music on. Otherwise I cannot focus and it just really bothers me. So, but good music, like, whoo, that really like I'm locked in. Self-care makes me really feel free. So like a massage, doing a facial at night, doing like drinking a lot of water and taking vitamins and having nice tea and just like having a really relaxing evening, that totally makes me feel free. Having a completely open day. Not one meeting is booked. Not one social activity is booked. No chores, no laundry, no dishes, nothing. I have a completely open day. That feeling when you wake up and you're like, I could do anything today. That makes me feel free. Hiking. We're loving being in the Rocky Mountain National Park, being outside, being with nature. That completely makes me feel free. Camping made me feel very free. We also were disconnected. We could not actually get on our phones and communicate with anybody. So that was a forced disconnection and that felt awkward. We did that this summer and it felt awkward. But it was really, really nice to have and needed. I got super recharged. So these are things that are making me feel recharged, right? Time with friends, playing board games, karaoke, like those things for me are fun. I feel free. You don't have the weight of the world. You don't have the distractions. I'm in the moment. I am present and it fills me up. And on previous episodes of Crystal Uncorked, I asked my guests, what do you do to recharge your batteries? That's a big, I think that's so important for us to know what does recharge our batteries and then do it, right? Like you either have to schedule it in, it's got to become a habit, a practice that you do over and over and over. And what I find is if I am out of alignment, like if I am out of balance, where I do not have those things, that list that helps me feel free and invites in the fun, I am feeling really drained. I'm feeling really stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I am feeling burned out. I am not performing at my highest level to anyone in my life, whether it's business or personal. And when I stop and think, and it's like, wow, if I look back and it's like, wow, I've been in all these meetings, everything's work focused. My mind is completely work focused. I have not taken a second to do the things that fill me back up. How the fuck can I be my best self if I don't do those things. So I want you, my hopes is that you listen to this episode and you know those things. I know you know them of what makes you feel free. Have you been craving freedom like I have? Like a break, that freedom? Have you been wanting to invite in some more fun in your life, but you're doing what you've always done, which is like work. As a business owner, you can't fucking turn it off. Your mind is always going. Trust me, I know. It is so hard to turn off work. Like I might have two 1-hour meetings on a Tuesday, and I have nothing else going on. And people might be like, oh my gosh, you have so much time. But oh my gosh, that whole day I'm thinking about work. I am thinking about all of the things, right? So it's really hard. You don't really have that break. You don't have the recharge. But if you get into the self-care, the dancing to fun music, the karaoke nights, it allows you to take that break. And it's so necessary to recharge and create balance in your life. So I hope that you identify those things and then also make them a consistent practice into your life. I want to know what those things are for you. DM me on Instagram. I'm Crystal Vilkaitis. I know the last name's tough. We've linked to it in the show notes. But will you DM me and tell me what you do? Like, what is the one thing that recharges your batteries? I would love to know. So on next week's episode, I have my very dear friend, Vi Wickham, who's going to be joining me. Vi has helped me through some very challenging times in business, some self-identity crises. And he is one of the most positive, like just genuine, inspiring people that I've ever met. Nothing gets Vi down. And something that Vi always says to me, because he also does e-com, he's helped me build several websites. I'll be like, is it possible to do blah, blah, blah? And he'll be like, anything's possible. Like he truly lives through that lens. Anything is possible. And I really love that. So I'm excited for you to hear from him next week. And I will see you on the next See You. Bye. All right, let's keep this conversation going. Join me on Instagram. I'm at Crystal Uncorked. And I need to tell you, thank you so much for listening to this show. It truly means the world to me. If you're enjoying Crystal Uncorked, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Okay, I'll see you on the next See You. Cheers, friend.